Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I'm your host, Ty Spiker Christensen. I know what you did. I've done a lot of things, Eloise. You're going to have to be more specific, love. And we've got Jordan Christensen on the pod.
Downtown.
Boo! More effort next time, Jordan. More effort. Downtown. There you go. That's my best. That sounds more like the Macklemore. All right, yeah. Cameron Mickles on the pod.
I'm not going to prison. I've been in prison my whole life.
Oh my gosh, that's kind of an important quote. And we've got Drew back on the podcast.
Do you believe in ghosts?
You have to say that voice. Do you believe in ghosts? I thought that was his line Eloise. From the Haunted Mansion. Oh, is it Eloise that says it?
Yeah, she said,
I thought he said it.
Maybe I just kept thinking of his role. And then she's like, what are you talking about, love? And he's like,
do you believe in ghosts? Yeah.
I keep thinking that's too much from a line. His role, I gotta say, what's his face? He's so terrifying. He was in the Haunted Mansion.
All I think of is him in Get Smart.
No, Terrence Stamp. Yeah, Yes Man is what I was thinking of. And yeah, it would be a shame to lose all those movie actors. He's like, yes, what would we do without the razor sharp political advice? Terrence Stamp, dude, he's a
every
creepy
time we talk
son
about
of a
him,
gun.
you quote that. I love it. That's so great.
He's so scary. Terrence Stamp is synonymous with creep.
Clockwork Orange.
Yeah. And also, like, I always think of him from the Haunted Mansion. He was terrifying in that.
Oh, yeah. That's what I knew him from.
I forgot.
I know it's a comedy, but he's so scary in that movie. I know it's supposed to be a comedy. Didn't laugh once.
He just has that scary Russian mob face.
Yes.
He was in Community, too. Yeah, he just always plays the scary guy.
He's always scary. That poor guy gets typecast as such a creep, and he's probably a really nice guy. Guys,
like
today we are discussing.
He's creepy. He's like so nice.
Yeah.
It's scary how nice he is.
He is so nice.
I'm like, you have that deep, that devil face, and then you're just like the most kind person ever.
The devil face. His eyes like a devil. Like a shark. Last night in Soho, guys, we're discussing this movie. This came out in 2021. It's in theaters right now. Go check it out.
It's like we can't get enough of Edgar Wright or something.
Yeah, this movie was directed by Edgar Wright, written by Edgar Wright, and also Christy Wilson Cairns. C-A-I-R-N-S.
Barnes.
And our girl's back, Ty. Dude,
Our
girl from The Witch.
back. Dude, our girl. This is my girl. Anya Taylor-Joy is one of the
gorgeous.
most. She could kick Saoirse Ronan's butt at any day. This is like comparing Helen Streep, I get them confused. Helen Mirren to Meryl Streep. Most overrated actress of all time, Meryl Streep.
Oh, here we go.
Just like Saoirse Ronan. She's the new Meryl Streep that everyone's sainted and anointed, and I'm like, she's all right. She's not that great. Anya Taylor-Joy is going to mop the floor with Saoirse Ronan in the future. Just wait for it, okay? And I will give Thomasin McKenzie, she did an amazing job, too. Wow, these were two amazing leads.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I love seeing her in Jojo Rabbit and The King. She's great.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I'm like, I know her from so many things, but you forget that she's in all those movies.
I was surprised, because she actually looked pretty in this movie when I don't know.
Cameron's hesitating. Pretty.
It was just.
She's 18, right? Oh.
That reminds me of Honest Trailers when he's like,
put you on a list, Cameron.
And Hermione Granger. Oh, only after the third one, of course, because I'm not a pervert.
After she turned 18.
Oh, okay, wait, I have to tell you really quick. My boss, he went on the announcer to tell people that he found somebody's phone. And he's like, oh, well, I mean, I didn't find it because somebody else found it in the girls' bathroom.
Oh boy, guys, we are discussing Last Night in Soho. So before we get into it, I'm just going to give a quick plot recap because this is a new movie. We didn't do it on our last episode, Prisoners. I hope people figured out what that movie was about.
I love it. We should all talk in our creepiest white male voices,
Very
I think
creepy,
we're
Jordan.
talking about how about those demonic past lovers?
I know. I just love when they're all sitting down in the stage room and then it pans around and all white guys. I'm like, uh-oh. I knew I was in for a treat.
So, this movie, an aspiring fashion designer is mysteriously able to enter the 1960s where she encounters a dazzling wannabe singer. But the glamour is not all that it appears to be in the dreams of the past. Uh-oh. It's cut off. Dreams of the past start.
Uh-oh.
Okay. But glamour is not all that it appears to be, and the dreams of the past start to crack and splinter into something darker. Oh, that changes the meaning, doesn't it? I'm glad I read that because it says read all. The plot went a little
At the
longer.
end, Ty, did you think of Hot Fuzz? I just totally got Hot Fuzz vibes. Like, I thought that
That's
old
so funny
woman
you say that. No,
was
I
from
got like
the
really
town
Hitchcock.
cult.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but like, I mean, Edgar Wright obviously making Hot Fuzz. There's that twist. I was thinking like Hitchcock. Like I loved it. I thought it was so well done.
Did have a very
Guys,
Hitchcock
I got to say, our boy is back. He is firing on all cylinders. This is an amazing movie.
Ty's just saying that after
movie.
talking about The World's End.
Yes, yeah. So I re-listened to her at World's End. Edgar Wright, I'm sorry,
The World's
I forgot
End.
you. Whatever. It's the most forgettable movie that you've done, buddy. But you're back, my friend.
Ty,
Edgar Wright.
did this
I
remind
will
you of
see
Silence
every
of the
film.
Lambs? Just like the view from all the guys, I mean the girls' perspective, all the guys just
Very horrifying. Yes. This movie, for the first time, I want to shed my old sexist ways. I have so much empathy for women. Women have it so crappy. They had it crappy back in the 60s. They certainly have it better now. But my goodness, did it suck to be a girl and try to get ahead in the world. Ugh. And I'm sorry, Edgar Wright, thanks for shedding the true light on, this whole sex work positivity.
This is done the right way.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of people
it's not
jamming
even
down
just a
your
woman
throat the
empowerment.
wrong way.
No, yeah. But in the end, I'm really glad that he didn't say like work is a positive thing. It's not. And again, you might say, oh, it's because she had a pimp. It's like, no. If you get caught up in this world, it's not a good thing. It's not. The seedy underbelly of the London, it's a terrifying place. This movie did such a good job at making me horrified.
Well, and she didn't even want to be a worker in the first place. Like, that was never...
Yeah, she wanted to be a singer. But you got to the right people. Unbelievable. Matt Smith did such a good job. I only know him as one of the Doctor Who's from Doctor Who universe. Good on him. Wow, he was really good. He was so charming at first. I fell for it. I was like, what a great guy.
There was just like a lot of like complaints online about how they made the villain, like the girl who was like essentially being taken advantage of, the villain. A lot of people thought that was really like low to make the girl who was taken advantage of the villain of the movie. Like, oh, any girl who's taken advantage of is like turns into a killer. I'm just like, it's just a plot twist, okay? Chill the fudge out.
But even then, yeah, it's not like Edgar Wright is saying, yeah, if you work as a worker your whole life, you're going to murder people. He doesn't think all workers are murderers. I don't understand that. And that's why I love it. That if you notice, the Rotten Tomatoes started to come up. I think a lot of people initially are like, well, hang on a second. He's portraying work as not positive and like as a deep, bleak, dark thing. And I'm like, it is. It's a terrible thing. It is not a good, morally speaking, and just like practically speaking, it's not a good world to be in. My goodness. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, watch Dave Chappelle's The Bird Song. Holy crap. You're going to learn about a whole seedy underbelly of a world that exists out there. Where
I did think it was a
abused.
little funny though how all the guys in this movie were absolutely just wads except for the one black kid in the movie. I did think that was a little funny, but
I thought she was going to stab him in the library. 100% sure.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, she's going to stab him in the library.
Yes.
She's going to stab him in the library. And then she's like ready to stab him. Like, there he is. And then he saved her. And I was like, subvert my expectation. I also thought because he's black, he was going to for sure die. And I was like, please, Edgar Wright, don't kill the only black guy in your movie.
The
And a
only
horror
nice
movie of all
guy,
things.
too.
And it's a horror movie. And he's a black guy. He's going to die. I thought he did die. And then they
Oh,
didn't.
and then he gets stabbed. That's right. Yeah.
I'm so glad that they showed that there like are nice guys as well.
Yes,
I thought they were
love
going to show
that.
that everyone was, but like that black kid, dude, I love his character, and we'll get more into that.
Yeah, and
But
I love when she first shows up inside the city, just that creepy taxi driver, just like, I felt so gross.
I know, what a scuzzbag. And I for the first, that was like the first moment where I'm like, again, it was so believable because he's just like, oh, you got nice legs. Like, I'll just wait here for you.
And she's like, can you let me out here? No, don't worry about it. We'll work something out.
Yeah, we'll work something out. Yeah, no.
My freaking fist through your face.
Nice, Cameron. Say, we're four white men talking on a podcast saying we're going to defend those ladies. Chivalry is not dead. I watched this movie and I was like, women empowerment. Let's go. Let's protect these women.
Let's kill sexist men.
Oh, sorry. That's my white saviorism, my white male saviorism. I'm sorry about that. We should let women take the mantle. We should just step out and get out of their way.
I'm progressive. I want to be a stay-home dad. I'll let my wife work for me.
Yeah. Jordan's like, I'll stay at home from now on. I'll change the nappies. I'll stay at home. Wife, you get to work. I'll stay at home. I love it. All right, so guys, let's get into it. What was it like watching this movie for the first time? I'll start. I saw it in the theater. I had such a blast. I was in the theater. There was one other person there. I walk in. He goes, "Oh, it looks like I won't be alone." I don't know if that was meaning like he was hoping to be alone. I don't know what kind of stuff he's going to be engaged in. But anyway, just a weirdo. But anyway,
maybe he was like one of the creeper white guys in the film. That's like,
I hear there's some dancing in this movie. Huh? He's got a cigarette in the corner of his mouth. No, thankfully, I was down in a movie theater.
Oh, I was thinking more like the party Ty when he walks in with the.
Gosh, nice. I was blown away by this movie because one, the movie theater I went to was incredible. It had heater seaters, so I had toasty buns going while I watched this movie. Because I got chills. I got goosebumps like 3 or 4 times during this movie. This movie, the theater experience was perfect. I was so glad I saw this in the theater. Edgar Wright's back, baby. So that's my thoughts about seeing this for the first time.
Ty discovered he was a woman after he came out of the movie.
Yes, I was like, oh my gosh, I am no longer a sexist. I will stand up for women's rights or get out of their way so they can take it for themselves. I don't know how it works because I don't want to be a white male savior anyway.
I love how the bar for not being sexist, like portrayed in this movie, is to like not just want to force girls to have with you to help them their career.
Yeah,
which is like completely true though, right? I mean, it's like you don't have to. Anyway, whatever. Don't even want to get into a political discussion because I don't care. I don't care.
It's just interesting. It's just like, and then she does with the other guy. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
The other guy, the black guy?
Yeah. And it's like, but she doesn't. But she gave consent, so that's important, right?
No, they had interrupted before they could do anything.
That's the important part. Right? Jordan spoke like a true.
So I just think you
I don't know. For normal humans, do you guys care about like consent or something? Like, you could not put that any creepier. Yeah, the fuck.
I'm just gonna need you to sign this. You sound like you sound like Dennis from freaking It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. First establish dominance or whatever.
Say to the camera.
Say to the camera, I consent to everything that may or may not happen in this. Yeah. I just need you to sign these NDAs. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, perfect. All the bodies are in their walls. Guys, I watched this with my wife and I really loved it. We had a good time. I thought it was more of a thriller. Would you call it a horror? It's a horror, right? Am I so desensitized? I can't tell anymore.
It's more thriller-like.
Okay.
And I was so pleasantly surprised at how few deaths need to be shown.
If it was a PG-13, I would call it a horror. But since it's R, I think it's an R thriller. Because, like, if this was just for general audience, there were some scenes where I'm like, yeah, these are horrifying images. But I don't know. I feel like for the R-rated community, I'm like, they've been desensitized, and this isn't like super over the top.
But it really landed with me because I've seen this story told before, this cautionary tale. But this is really well done. That's the magnificence of. Like, the fact that Edgar Wright built up this innocence and this nostalgia around the 1960s and then just pulled that rug out from under you from this seedy, dark underbelly, disgusting, this show hall where they have all these girls dancing in costumes. And I just remember getting such a sick feeling and feeling so bad for Anya Taylor-Joy.
That's the quote I should have used. Oh, that's a pretty name.
That's a pretty name. Which character says that? Like, half of them do. Like,
that's a lovely name.
Yeah. Sandy. That's a lovely name. And then she laughs. One of the guys, she's just like done with it. She's like, I knew you were going to say that. It's so sad. Anya Taylor-Joy, man. Somebody help her.
I just want to add real quick. Ty, I agree. Like, the movie itself just felt so well done to me. I just needed to throw something in. I know I haven't said anything yet. But I agree. Like, I watched it. I'm like, I feel like a lot of movies, like, I haven't really been impressed with a movie in a while.
Yes.
And I really was of this one for a number of reasons. But, like, I agree. I just felt like it was a well-written, it felt like a good
film.
Like, it felt a little bit more unique, a little bit more original than a lot of movies that I feel like have been coming out recently.
You're saying the 19th Ghostbusters is an original?
Oh, gosh. They should never have tried to revamp it. Horrible decision.
But all that
But not
money.
because they're women. Oh my gosh, not because they're women.
No, of course not. Of course not. No, of course not.
Yeah.
The movie itself was just, you know what I mean.
Well, no, and the new Ghostbusters coming out with children. I'm like, what else are they like? They just need all black Ghostbusters. That's all they're missing. Like, holy fudge, dude!
Can't forget
we got all women, and now we're getting all kids. You're just missing freaking blacks and Asians.
You need an all.
I prefer
gay
just
cast
all
too.
Asian Ghostbusters.
And all
actually.
gay Ghostbusters.
I would watch an all Asians Ghostbusters in Chinatown.
Gay Busters.
We need
Gay
all
busters.
gay.
You gotta call.
Gay busters. They exterminate homophobic
We
people.
need Don't cross the streams, Cameron, all right? It's really important you don't cross the streams in this instance because of AIDS. So, what was it like watching it the first time you watched it, Cameron?
I watched it in the theater with Drew. Not gonna lie, the first 35 minutes
on a bro date.
We even got dinner before. Yeah, it was quite the romantic date.
Really nice.
It was really nice.
Did you guys discuss pitch ideas about gay busters? Well, yeah.
No, but so first 35 minutes, I was kind of lost, and I was like, all right, Edgar, you better start making sense real quick, otherwise I'm gonna lie.
You were lost of what? Like her relationship to her nana? You're like, wait, I don't understand. Why is she so friendly with her grandma? What were you lost
about? Who's this grandparent?
Who is she? What? So I was lost at the fact that what was happening with I didn't understand whether she was traveling in time, whether it was in her head, and I was just I am very confused at what is that all dreaming?
How about just turning off the alarm clock and then the hand freaking grabs
her?
That
gave me chills. That scene gave me chills.
Me out. That was such a good. Oh my gosh!
I just wasn't even
You're not asleep.
Nearly expecting it. Not one bit was I expecting.
Not one bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. She's safe when she wakes up. You think?
First 35 minutes, I was a little confused. I was like, "What the fudge is happening?" But I think he did a good job of kind of looping it in and slowly letting you be like, okay, with the hickey on the neck, you're like, okay, so this is somewhat linked in her reality. She deals with the after effects sorta. And so I thought that was kind of clever, and I think he did a good job at giving you the hints along the way that helped
he say the grandma's you have a gift and stuff, and it destroyed your mom.
See, but I thought the gift was I'll get into that later, but then just overall watching it, it was really enjoyable. It was more enjoyable. Drew explained some things that he'll probably explain here that I thought maybe appreciate the film even a little bit more. So
great. And Drew, how about you, man? What was it like holding Cameron's hand throughout the movie?
Oh man, it was just great experience. I agree. The theater, watching in the theater felt really good. It feels good to watch a good movie in the theater again. I already talked about that.
Yes,
it does.
Preach.
I actually like slow build-ups. I really like I like to see things kind of develop, and I like to see how the director or how the cinematography kind of lays out the whole scene of the movie. I actually enjoy slower movies, and so I understand where Cameron's coming from with the slower beginning, but I actually really enjoy those parts. I feel like I like to try to pick up on anything that is happening, and I liked the pace of this movie because once it started, once Edgar Wright really put into gear, it was moving quickly. I feel like there was a lot that was happening, and so many things were just popping up here and there that will pique your interest, and then he brings it back in later, and I just really liked it.
Me and Drew were guessing so hard that we were trying to figure out I think it's this. I think we guessed so many times we were so wrong 90% of the time. We were
but it was a fun guess. It wasn't it's probably this.
Yeah, we were like,
super
cliche. We're like, maybe the lady was. We thought that the lady was the lady. We thought that first off, we thought that the lady who was renting it out was the one who she rented it out to the girl who died, which ended up. We were like, oh, no, I guess not. And then same thing, we thought that the guy in the pub was the murderer, which I'm assuming even Eloise thought.
Yeah, what a twist. Freaking the cop.
I was like,
are you kidding me?
He's a freaking cop. Yeah. Well, it's because they paid almost no attention in the flashback to the cop, so that's it slipped underneath your nose.
Well, she even said, "Are you a cop?" He didn't ever answered, so you're like, is that just something she was just saying? Because I know I've seen that kind of go back and forth, what are you, a police officer? And it's they're not,
Yeah. So that was the thing that it was really fun because you guys know me, I love trying to guess it and figure it out, but man, I was really off.
Don't worry, it was great because I do remember thinking I'll be right back is something you don't say in a horror movie. And she's like, I love that she tells her boyfriend, hey, if I'm not out of there in 15 minutes, come in for me. And I was like, that's a good thing to tell people in horror movies, but you shouldn't go alone, one. But two, what's so great is I was like, okay, so she's going to confront something in there. And I was trying to piece together at that moment because I'm like, who do we know in this movie that would come back for a good reveal? Because if you just bring in some rando, it won't mean anything. It was so great when he finally, and she's headed up to her room and she's like, oh, why don't you come in for a second? I was like, oh my gosh. I started piecing it, and then as soon as she said, would you like a cup of tea? I heard an audible gasp from the other guy that was in the theater with me. He goes, he's like, a drink, tea, something that you've been drinking this whole time. You're going to get drunk. And that's when we started piecing it together. Me and this guy at the same time were like, it's her.
The very beginning of that, when she first walks in, Like you can almost feel like the way that
something is happening.
She would like the way she was talking. It was different.
Oh,
and then
there was one great scene. Yes, Drew. I want to just add that real quick before I forget.
Quickly, yeah.
She says like, "Oh, lots of people died here." She said a really calloused thing that made me really worried because she's like, "Do you think anyone ever died in your room?" She goes, "People die everywhere," and she like didn't care, right? It was really calloused. It was really disturbing, and I was like, "Oh, but that's just like." In the end, she kind of justified what she was saying. She's like, a lot of people came through this city, and you're like, oh, this is just a poor, hardened, weathered girl, and you're like, it is true. But when you find out that she's buried millions of people in the freaking the
baseboards,
baseboards, and the spaces between the studs and the walls, I was like, holy crap! She's like, there are dead people everywhere in this apartment. I've killed half of them. I've killed all of them. It's so crazy.
What I like tied myself back to is at the very beginning of the movie when she first starts living there. Alexandra, the woman that owns the place, she said that there's a French bistro right next door, and that there's so much garlic you almost can't smell anything anymore. I was like, I wonder if that has to do with like the dead bodies in the baseboards.
Yes,
So like,
yes.
I just like again like something. I brought it up in Baby Driver, but Edgar Wright, just the way he like things happen in the movie from the very beginning to the very end that like he almost like is like teasing you with it, but only he knew what that is until the end. You're like, oh my gosh, I love it.
Unless it's a second watch.
Unless it's obviously, but like I love it. I think it was just I loved it a lot.
That's a great detail. Yeah, she's like, you won't be able to smell anything after that, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's not garlic that I smell. It's the smell of rotting flesh. Oh my gosh.
Well, it explains why there's so many spirits haunting the house. Makes so much sense.
Exactly. Brilliant.
So good.
I just love it.
Okay,
Gosh.
wait. I guess the only, I don't know if it's a nitpick, but were we to believe, is it a bad thing? I mean, I guess you guys always call it bait and switch. You guys use that word a lot. But is it the idea that her old roommate, like, when she handed her the drink and you're like, oh, shoot, like, is she going to drug her? Is she going to poison her or something? Like, what's with this roommate?
Old lace?
Like, is that just to kind of lead you astray? Like, to...
Yeah, it's because she does actually think back to the drink. And she's like, why would because she kind of does seem at odds with this other, like, she's obviously jealous of her. She tries to, like, you heard her talking about her when they were in the bathroom stall together. She was, like, so rude. She's like, oh, she's some country girl that showed up with, like, her own made clothes. Like, whatever. She's probably going to kill herself with the pressure gets to her.
She's using her parents' suicide for attention.
Yeah, when literally she's using like her uncle's. She literally like is trying to one up on suicide. I'm like, what the F is wrong with you?
That type of person.
No, I've gone through emotional just as much. No, me. Me. I'm just like, gosh, please.
She was brilliant. I mean, to her credit, I really hated Sinove Carlson's character.
Oh, she was the worst.
Yeah, she was like Draco. Job. She was like Draco Malfoy level. I was like, gosh.
But Draco even has like a little bit of sweetness and innocence to him. Like this chick is just pure evil.
Not in the first couple movies though. Not in the first
like Crabbe and Goyle.
You don't see that until like 6 or 7.
No, Crabbe and Goyle were all the other girls, Laura, Cammie, and Ashley. All these terrible women. I also recognize Jessie May Lee from what was the series that came out on Netflix? It was that
13 Reasons Why?
No. Although I'm sure that's a popular one. The darkness one with it's like Avatar meets Twilight. What is it called? I'm such an idiot. Shadow and Bone. Thank you. Thanks for your help, guys. Shadow and Bone. But she's in that, and it was a pretty fun series on Netflix. So I just recognized Jessie May Lee from that. I did. I watched it with my wife. I mean, it's perfectly adequate.
I was worried it was going to look just a little too cheesy for me. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd watch it with a girl because it's definitely more enjoyable because it's kind of like, I mean, I don't get any pleasure from watching Twilight, but my wife really does. And that can,
her pleasure is my pleasure.
Enjoy. Yeah, and I can poke fun at it when I totally find something completely bonkers,
that
like
CGI baby,
vampires, glowing CGI babies. Yeah,
and then finding clips of the baby they were gonna use,
the animatronic baby. That is the scariest image I've ever seen, and I cannot get that out of my memory.
Yeah, so I would just add in the end, love watching movies with people. This movie, though, Midnight in Soho, I was so happy to watch it alone, and I was just lost in the movie. I was won over by the innocence and the nostalgia of 1960s. I wish I lived there. When they first showed the dance hall and all the people, and I was like, do you ever get the feeling you were born in the wrong century, at least the wrong era, right? The wrong decade? Because I was like, that looks so awesome. Like, the way he shot it made it look so fun and nostalgic, running around.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about all those creepy white guys just sitting around, like, sweating.
Oh my gosh, no. But see, that comes in.
Yes, but like her walking into the
the world. She gets exposed to this world. She walks in the downtown, all the old-fashioned cars,
recreating the
lights.
60s. It was as cool as like
So
Quentin
fun.
recreating the 60s, which is so funny that they both
Once
created
Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And they both, it's just such a great job. Like, it was so exciting. And that's what I think this movie really
Did you
packs
catch
a punch
that?
when you
His
learn the
reference
twist.
to Quentin's movie Pulp Fiction? They did the dance that they did.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like just a popular dance for the 60s, but yeah, I definitely got the Pulp Fiction image of
Well,
Uma
they're
Thurman and
really
John
good
Travolta
friends in real
dancing.
life, so they definitely did it.
Are
He
they
did
really?
it as a reference
Yeah.
to his film.
I guarantee, yeah, definitely. And it was a great scene. I love watching them dancing. And then, like, they're running around together like this cute couple. And I love seeing Thomas and Mackenzie being reflected in the mirror on Anya Taylor-Joy. And there's a great scenes where Edgar Wright, to his craft, they keep dancing. And without cutting, she gets out of frame. Anya Taylor-Joy resumes dancing.
Yeah,
with
that was
Matt Smith's
amazing. I'm
character.
like, how did he do that?
That is so impressive. They don't cut.
A lot of it's high. He actually...
I just showed Drew the animatronic baby from Twilight.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Okay, but they
So
used.
Yeah,
I was listening
in and
to
out
an
of
interview
frame.
Ty with him, and he says he used a lot of like not CGI. He actually used like old school. He tried to use as many old school ways as
Practical
possible.
effects.
I love it.
It's
just
so
to take you
cool.
back
Not
to the
CGI.
60s. And
I feel like everything nowadays is CGI, and it just
Yeah.
makes the movie look so
Like The Hobbit.
Yes. Oh my
like
gosh.
Attack
Don't
of
get
the
me started
Clones?
about The Hobbit. I'm so upset with it.
yeah.
I want it to be so good. It's just it's so cheesy. There's okay, that's something else. Anyway, I like the more practical feeling of it.
Yes.
It felt better.
Felt very synthetic. It felt real. I
Yes.
felt like I was
I
there
felt
in the
like
60s.
yes.
It really took me there. Like I got transported just like
I felt like I
Thomason
was.
did.
I felt like I was being pimped out.
Left me a bad taste in my mouth. Yeah, holy crap, guys! I gotta say, I just felt so much for. And another thing, what really helps me, and I talked about this in Hereditary, the movie's fundamentally a drama, and the drama is really effective because even if you're not scared, if I care enough about my character, I'm worried for them, even if I'm not genuinely terrified. So I would argue this is more of a thriller because I'm not gonna have nightmares. Now there was a few great jump scares that totally did a great job at subverting my expectations, but what I really liked is I fundamentally cared so much about what happens to both Anya Taylor-Joy's character and Thomasin McKenzie's character. I just cared so much about our two leads. I wanted them to get out and get ahead and to escape from this
Ty,
hell.
did you want him to get out?
I concur.
Get out here, man. I know Anya Taylor-Joy tells Thomasin McKenzie, get out. Why? Get out.
Oh,
Slaves. Slaves, white people. Slaves.
Slaves, that's all you have to say.
I just
Slaves.
loved her
Say something
trying
other
to
than
like
just get out.
communicate her to her, and then the idea of her like not being able to look at herself in the mirror. I love that because it's like
That
a
was
self-reflection. It's
great.
like I don't even want to look at myself. I still feel so gross.
Guys, I gotta say, holy cow. And this was a great, okay, remember how I talked about how I hate Kylo Ren just piecing out after kissing Rey? And it's like, yeah, I guess no redemption necessary. Just die because plot.
Yes,
convenience.
I
Like, why
love
did he
the
die?
ending to this
Did
old
he serve his
woman.
purpose?
Amazing.
Yes, hers was so believable.
Yes.
What she's like, I'm not going back to prison. I've been in prison my whole life. I was just like, my heart broke in that instance. I was like, and you watched it happen. Show don't tell. She says it, and you're like, you literally watched her entire prison. You watched how miserable Anya Taylor-Joy's character. You watched countless men coming. We made the joke about like, oh, that's a pretty name.
She
All
enjoyed
these
slashing up those guys a
sleazy
little too much,
men.
though. There was a little too
No,
much
but she was
enjoyment on
only
her
driven
face
to
when
that
she was
after.
slicing them
She
in
was
half.
driven to that after so
After she
many
became
men.
numb.
Yes, because she had completely like she was being drugged up. Remember her vision? She's been drugged. She's been like she finally had enough.
She was
and
like-
she
she was
killed
like
her
Elle.
pimp.
She was
then
like,
started killing all the men. She was like,
She was
I'm
like
gonna
light
become.
enjoyment level of death now. Just yes.
Yeah, like I have a civil duty to murder all these men that would otherwise be taking advantage of women like me. Just unbelievable. It's
Can we go
unbelievable.
around? Can we go around talking about two favorite things? I know we've already talked about a lot. Of
Yeah,
things.
let's do it. I'll just say it. Soundtrack. Loved the 60s soundtrack and all the other great songs that were in this movie. Edgar Wright has a fascination with music. I do too. And now I'm going to go look up all the songs that were in this movie and be listening to it for the next few months. Love the soundtrack. And two, just the aesthetic feel. I just loved the 60s. I was whisked away at it another time. I really was. I was just, along with Thomasin.
And Ty's like,
And
I
look at
wanted to
that.
go back.
I want to be a woman now. Okay, go ahead, Jordan. What are your two favorite things? Or Cameron, you go first.
Yeah,
You
Cameron,
and Drew.
Drew.
You and Drew.
Yeah, if this isn't like similar to Synchronic Tie of it being a terrible to be a black man in any time period except for now. Same thing with a woman.
Women have had it so
being
bad,
a woman in any time period except for like past 2000 or 1980s. I don't know, just rough. But I think my favorite thing about the film was just I love the usage of color. I thought the usage of color was so interesting with the blue and red.
Flashing.
And like how a lot of times I'm pretty sure majority of the time when it was like reality or like it was blue, but then when it was like she was dealing with like the medical physical world, it was a lot of times red, which I thought was really interesting. And how like in her bedroom it was flashing blue and red because in her bedroom it was both.
Yeah, and I liked that the music. Cameron,
that.
did you catch that the music was going to the beats of the flashing lights? It was so cool.
Yeah, he's a nerd about that. He loves that.
Yeah,
I really loved. What's the black kid's name?
You can just call him the black kid.
Michael, John, Michael Ajayo. Yeah, so he is such a stud. I just love his character. I love it because the first time you ever meet him, it's right after she just had that sleazy encounter with the nasty Uber driver or the taxi driver who's like, we can work something now.
And Joe Castor, her terrible roommate. It's like, could you have a much worse life?
And so then she runs into him. Like on the steps, he's like, "Can I help you?" And he's genuinely being nice, but after the encounter with the guy
outside at the doorway,
you think that he's just doing that because he wants to get because like, and so that's the effect that you would naturally have because of it coming right after that interaction, and that's why I love it because like you kind of see, that's why I understand why she was rude to him the first time is because coming from that encounter, she's like, all you men are the same, and that's what I love is just like how genuine and sweet he was to her because he was such a fun character to where like. Oh, when he stepped on that glass, though, I wish they would have brought that back to where that would have affected the plot somehow. But I just loved it because he was so patient with her. But like even through all her craziness, he was just still like he understood that it wasn't towards him, but it was like something that she was like that was going on with her. And that's what I loved is that he noticed about her was that he's like, I don't want you to be like everyone else. You are different. And that's what like he liked about her.
Perfect. Brilliant. Drew, how about you? 2 of your favorite things.
Okay, so one of them is really long. So I'll just quickly touch. I agree with the lights. The lights was interesting. I liked the same, like almost the exact same thing as Cameron. With John's character, his consistency, his concern, his commitment to her. I just love that. Okay, so for the long part, they only said it once in the movie, but it talks about schizophrenia, and that's what I think is happening. Is I think she has some issue with like some mental illness or something. And I think that's actually how her mom died as well. But, or like she killed herself because of her schizophrenic episodes were just a little too much. And I just recently learned so I'm becoming an EMT right now. I'm in some class for it, but we had a lecture recently about schizophrenia, anxiety, and depression, and how those are really major things in how we treat some of our patients or some of our emergency calls and stuff. But schizophrenia was a big one, and the guy that was talking about it said some really, really interesting things about it. So first off, schizophrenia, people that have it, there's something with wrong with the way that their brain comprehends logic and emotion in a way, and so they'll see things, they'll hear things, they'll feel things, and that is they can't tell that it's not real because that's just their brain thinks that it is, and so I mean they have no other reason to doubt that it's not real, if that makes sense. And so what I think is we're seeing it from her perspective and that she has schizophrenia. And the way that one of the people that gave the lecture, one of the instructors, he was talking about is, you know how a lot of people, when they're scared of the government, like reading their minds or whatever, they put tinfoil around their head. So he was explaining way back when TV was first becoming a thing with like big dishes and stuff, next door neighbors will pick up on some of the frequencies and broadcasts from that dish. And so they'd wrap their antennas in tinfoil. And by doing so, they block out certain frequencies and broadcasts. And so people with schizophrenia, most of the time they're older people, that makes sense to them, that they're hearing voices. And so they put tinfoil on their head to try to block those voices out because they think it's some sort of mess up in some broadcast or frequency. That makes sense to them. And so a lot of the times when they see something or they pick up on something or they hear those voices, they try to find a logical way to take that out. if that makes sense. And I think that she noticed something about London, or at least about the room that she was living in. And maybe it was kind of like a sixth sense kind of thing where she could see like spirits and dead people and stuff. But like, I feel like she might have found something in that room, and that's what set off the trigger of like seeing Sandy's whole life. Like, I think what happened is it's almost like her detective journey going through it, and her like going back to the 60s, that's something that she really cares about or knows a lot about. I think her mind taking it back to the 60s is almost her way of explaining why she can see the dead people, or why she has like, I don't know. That was a really long explanation, but I see it as it's a way that Edgar Wright is almost tackling schizophrenia in a way that we see her solving this murder from 60 years ago. And I don't even know how to wrap this up. But basically what I'm trying to say is I think the whole movie is almost like we're seeing the movie from Thomason's perspective, who has schizophrenia. And it's almost like that's what's giving her that inspiration for her dresses. And that's what's giving her this feeling of, I know what's happening, and like I know who Jack is. But really, obviously, that was the cop. But like, I think she almost is like solving a mystery in her own mind. But the schizophrenia that she has makes it so she sees something else than what we see. So like, if it was maybe a different perspective, let's say John's perspective, like obviously he can't see what's happening, but she does, and her brain can't say that it's not real, and so she sees it as real, and so she's living this life with all these other characters because of her schizophrenia.
I like that. And again, because I might understand, we don't officially know what happened to the mother, right? The grandma mentioned that the city was too much for her. That's what she alludes to. So she obviously killed herself. What's that, Cameron? Drew's a genius. Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Yeah, I was just saying Drew's a genius.
Yeah, I like that, a reading of it, because ultimately I think this movie does tackle a lot of mental illness, because in the end, like, everything that's happening, what's incredible is you have a character like John who is so willing to hear her out and be like, obviously something's wrong. Like, why would you be behaving this way? He fundamentally trusts her completely, which is really cool. You don't see that a lot in a supporting character, because usually it's like, it's really easy to be like, what's wrong? What's wrong with you? And then he could have been like on the side of, the mean Joe Casta's character, like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with you? You're saying things. Clearly having a mental breakdown,
on the side of
it's really easy for her to like dismiss her behavior as just erratic and nonsensical. But in the end, like you said, there was a rhyme and reason to all this happening, and actually ended up solving this mystery and breaking down and coming to terms and understanding Anya Taylor-Joy's character revealed Miss Collins in the future, Sandy, who's actually Sandra or Alexander Collins, which is a crazy twist. It's her all along. It's crazy. Loved it. It was such a good Hitchcockian twist. Like, it just made me feel so delighted when I found out that was the twist. And yeah, and her abuse throughout the years, she obviously had snapped. She dealt with it by murdering all the people, and took it as her life's work to kill every man that came by to. So it's very, I think that's very apt, Drew. I think that's really cool, this movie. Maybe Edgar Wright's like, hey, I made this movie for all you schizophrenic people out there, It's a good one for the mentally ill. Gotta throw them a bone every once in a while. Jordan, what are your two favorite things?
Two favorite things. The opening setup to this girl, like, I felt like I was going to the city for the first time and starting school there. Because I mean, I did go to school, but I never lived in a big city. So it was very fun to kind of get that feeling, because I actually felt like I was there. And I guess...
Be reminded how terrible roommates are.
Yes.
Jordan, just real quick. Did anyone else... Was anyone else reminded of the grandma from from SpongeBob? What is he sounding? That's what I thought of with the grandma. She looked like she was about ready to croak.
That's hilarious. Dude, she terrifies me now. All I can think about is her revealing who she was at the end. I just can't get that out of my head.
I was talking about the friendly grandma. Yeah, Gran.
Oh, sweet Gran? What does she sound like? What? Oh my gosh, no.
The first thing he said when she came on, the first thing he said when he came on character, I mean, when she came on screen, Cameron was like, she's about to roll over and die.
Mind you, Grandma, not Sweet Gran, but Evil Gran in this movie, she had made Anya Taylor-Joy or Thomason's character tea before, so she could have been drugging her many nights, true. Right? Which is one thing to add to the ambiguity, because she does give her tea on multiple occasions, and this last particular night, she definitely gives her some hard stuff, and it's like, you're done now. I wonder what that might be included there, or if there's anything more to that, because she does keep having the dreams, but she does share a drink, or she's like, I'll put on the kettle. So she could have been drugging her from day one. We don't know, but I think it's easy to assume. It kind of reminds me of Get Out, that the teacup. There's just so much good that comes with
that
offering something as innocent as tea. Like in England, it's like so mundane, right? Everyone drinks tea. Here in America, not so much.
I saved you a spot in my floorboards.
Yeah, right. Like, it's so good, and I love that. And at the very end, with the knife, climbing the stairs, singing the song downtown, it's so incredible, just incredible. And then like the visuals, she starts to vision. Well, because she starts to get the vision, it's a really beautiful thing. But she's literally being threatened to chased up the stair with a knife. Like, it's very cool how, because the drugs are kicking in or whatever she's poisoned her with. Makes me think of Prisoners. We just watched that movie and talked about being poisoned by purple drink. This movie, she gets poisoned with the tea, and then she's like starts hallucinating, and then sees Anya Taylor-Joy's character, because you already know the reveal, so it's like cutting back and forth. I love that. It's really cool. Just love that double play. Like, you have the old lady and Anya Taylor-Joy after her, and then you have, like, when they were dancing, Thomason and Anya Taylor-Joy switching places. It's so cool. That's like one of my favorite things.
My second thing is, I've already kind of mentioned it, but just gonna reiterate the fact that she, like, it makes you feel like you're in her shoes. Like, from that opening scene, I mean, not opening scene, but when she gets to the city for the first time and you're in the cab with that guy, I literally just felt so gross and icky, and I felt like I was in her shoes. And I love that. I mean, the whole film, like, you were feeling everything she was feeling. It was great. Very well done.
Excellent.
Sorry, one more thing. I just
loves feeling icky.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Jordan's like, I just want to bathe in this.
Icky, yum, yum, trash.
Yep. Yum, yum, trash. Trash.
Trash. Used to be a doctor, man.
Sorry, just real quick. Jordan just reminded me of the beginning scene. It was, so I'm going to be honest, the entire time, I actually thought that we were in like the early 2000s or like late 90s at the very beginning of the movie. Like, it almost like seemed like there was a grain to the film.
Yeah.
Like the actual movie. And so like, I thought that was really interesting that it changed, because I agree. Like, it was almost like we were leaving Cornwall is just a little tiny, countryside kind of thing, to like something grand and new with all the lights and all the people. I think that was another thing I just wanted to
I love that. This movie transports you, man, and that's pretty cool. I think that's the magic of film. Edgar Wright knows how to occupy space, occupy locations. Like, I really feel like I traveled. I actually remember thinking at first I was worried, because Edgar Wright is usually known for really quick cuts, the cinematographers that he uses, and the editors that he uses are usually very quick. This one, it was a little more slow-paced, and I think that was intentional.
Well, but a lot of his cuts were just better hidden.
That's true,
He
too.
still had a lot of really good quick cuts, but he
did
hid them really well.
Right, because like one thing I noticed, because there was Every Frame of Painting, rest in peace, my favorite YouTube channel of all time. But he mentions Edgar Wright, and when for example, Hot Fuzz, when Nicholas Angel travels from the city to the countryside, he does it very quickly and very intelligently.
That was jarring.
And
this was like, it hit
it
all
was
the
jarring.
cuts.
Yeah, this one was like, they played some upbeat music, she's traveling, you watch her on the train. But again, it's still very well done.
No, but
and
they're
a lot of movies do
seamless.
this for the
if you
passage
look at
of time.
it, like she like looks one way, all of a sudden it'll cut, and she's all of a sudden she's in the city. Like, they just they're still there, but it's not as noticeable.
Exactly, and you're right. And then that one, it was more jarring, but it was kind of like using it to subvert your expectations. Like, oh, we all know this scene. This is the scene where a character travels from one place to the other. They've accepted the call to action. She got her college acceptance letter. She's going to the big city. Like. And it's just played with some fun, upbeat songs and the cuts and everything. But you're right. I just was saying it's different stylistically than some of the Edgar Wright's other films. But I love what you were saying, that this movie feels more mature in the fact that, like, it's slower. It's not like the jarring, quick zoom-ins, even though there's some great character reactions and everything that I love about Edgar Wright. There's just really great moments where, like, it's a little slower and more, like, it's almost like he trusted either the audience or the actors or something, but he didn't cut away from it. He didn't make it as quirky. He like let it breathe.
Yeah, I was surprised.
More.
I was surprised like how more straight faced this was. Like, it was still funny and I was laughing, but not the like really goofy over the top stuff.
Yes. Yeah. This was a very mature subject matter, and I think he did it very respectfully and really well. So very much loved this movie. One nitpick, I would just say at the very end when they have the fashion show, those were some really ugly models, showing off her dresses.
They kind of looked like the faceless men. because they had no eyebrows.
They kind of freaked me out.
That's what me and Drew were joking. We're like, they're still haunting her to this day.
Now they're just dressing up for her.
You know, maybe they were dudes. I don't know these days. Like, you could get anyone to model, it sounds like, but they just look so ugly. I'm sorry. But then I was like, maybe that's the point. You get an ugly person with a really beautiful dress. And you're like, wow, even that dress will make someone that hideous look somewhat attractive.
Oh, were those?
So,
I thought those
know.
were
Maybe
dudes, or what? Were they chicks?
They probably were men. Who knows? Who knows at this point? I just remember watching it being like, modeling changed a lot.
They were.
No, actually, I'm with Cameron.
They were wearing dresses.
I'm pretty sure they were guys.
Wait, Cameron, don't you know Harry Styles wears a dress? David Bowie wears a dress, man.
Harry Styles.
Subverting the norms of,
Yeah, Cameron, have you lived in England in the fashion?
Yeah,
according to Trainspotting, there's no male and female. They're all just...
It's absolutely being Scottish.
You even said it wrong. Yeah. He says it with a...
I know. I said it wrong because I didn't want to swear.
You just said the swear word, though. It sounded like...
I said...
Oh.
And you said I said it wrong, and I'm like... And then you're like, it's... Jordan. Jeez. My gosh. Thank you.
Give me one line bleep.
Yes. Cameron, I like how you're like, oh, they were dresses, so they're clearly women. You'd be surprised, Cameron. Honestly, I put, let's see, they looked like dudes. And then I was like, maybe they were trans people. I was like, maybe get ugly people in your dress so your dress stands out. That's really what I put. That's a good note. Get someone ugly. Like, if someone as ugly as that could look good wearing a dress like yours, you've got a good
I was
dress
thinking
on
that too.
your
I'm
hands.
like, these are the most ugliest things I've ever seen in my life.
Hey, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, Jordan. They're beautiful in their own right.
I guess.
Their own pathetic right. I don't know. I have no idea. I was just very surprised. I was like, that's not my traditional idea of beauty. But see, England is much farther along than we are in our slow development toward progressivism. So who knows? Very interested. Like I said, I just find them objectively beautiful. And I think there are objectively beautiful standards. The dresses they were wearing were really pretty. The people, not so much. Didn't find them handsome if they were men, and I didn't find them beautiful if they were women. So I don't really care if it was a boy or girl. It's not really my issue here. So anyway, Cameron, I just love what you said, though. You're like, they were wearing dresses. Of course they were women. Such a small mind, Cameron.
I assume that for a fashion show that girls would be showing off dresses, but who knows? Apparently I'm not very woke.
Also, really pleasantly surprised that John is not a gay dressmaker or fashion designer. Like, straight dude. Yeah, cool dude. John, subverting my expectation. Being a black guy in a horror movie that didn't die and not being gay. Two very subverting my expectations.
Also being a good human being and treating women with respect.
I was actually waiting when he got into her apartment. He would have been like, I can't do this with you. I thought that was going to be how he left. He'd be like, I'm gay. I literally was waiting for that scene where he's like,
I just thought you were the gay dudes.
I just thought you were gay dudes. And he's like, yeah, you kind of look like a girl, Thomason. No, she's such a sweet little mousy girl. I wanted her to be safe. Broke my heart just thinking about my
maybe
kids
he thought
growing
she
up
was a
someday and
man.
have to face a big, mean world.
Like,
Any other nitpicks you guys have?
Nitpicks? I can't say that there are very many that I can think of.
My nitpick would be Cameron's offensive comment about that men can't wear dresses. Sorry, Cameron.
I didn't say that.
Would you come out of the 60s,
You're putting
Cameron?
words into my mouth. I said I assumed that they were women because they were wearing dresses. I didn't say men
Got it.
can't
So
wear
you
dresses.
assumed their gender because of the way they were dressed.
Gender
is just an ideology, Cameron. It's a social construct.
Hey,
You're crazy, Cameron.
I just thought of something that I'd like to add. I apologize for whoever's editing because I feel like I just keep adding stuff.
No,
Yeah, Jordan, when you edit
spots.
this, make sure you take all the transgender stuff because we don't want people to think that we're transphobic, all right?
Yeah, seriously. So last time I was on the podcast, we were on Baby Driver, and we were talking about how Edgar Wright chooses his cuss words, specifically his F words, very particularly. I really took that to heart and really paid attention this time. The first time that there's a cuss word in the movie, it's when Sandy steps out of her first interview almost and says the F word and turns around and zooms in on the R for the bar. And I'm like, Cameron, remember that. Like, there's no way that this scene right here, that something important is going to happen at this
so
place.
out of place too.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm like, I was almost surprised because I felt like it was a PG-13 movie the whole time. And then it says the F word. I'm like, oh, there's the first, there it is. And I'm like, wait, we talked about this. Edgar Wright's very particular about when he uses his words. And I feel like that was a really interesting time because that R, the R on the building next to the bar where she first sings, that comes up twice later in the movie. And so I just wanted to add that is he used that and then immediately showed an important part of the movie. And I just have to commend him on that.
Wait, so are we to believe that that's where you go? Is that what I'm understanding? I'm very confused.
What? No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Jordan,
Jordan, you're actually.
try this again. Let's try this
I think Jordan suffers from
where you go to-
schizophrenia.
So you remember when Sandy first gets
the bar? That's the place where she goes and herself.
No, sorry. No, so okay, sorry. Let's try this again. As I explained it bad. So when Sandy first gets her chance,
that's not what I said.
when Sandy first gets her chance with Jack to sing in front of Jack and that other guy at that bar.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, there's the first audition where
Yes,
she
the
just
audition,
sings.
there
He's
it
like,
is.
you
I
got me a
couldn't think of
private
the word.
audition. Yeah, it seemed innocent enough.
Yes,
You're
that audition part. So she sings and she does a good job, and then it kind of fades, and as it's fading, the guy that owns the bar says, "So she can sing."
So she can sing.
And then it goes and it fades back, and her and Jack are walking out of the bar, and she says that something like, "I can't believe that this effing happened," or
I
like,
can't effing believe this.
yeah, something like that along those lines. And right as she says that, she turns around and looks at the bar, and it's like Rialto's or something like that, and there's that special looking R on the building. And she ends up walking by it and noticing it later. Or sorry.
Yeah, she's trying on the fashion clothes. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, Ellie notices it later when she's she has like that $350 white jacket that she buys. Like she's right across the street from that. And so I'm like, I was just saying like that was one of the times that it happened. There's another time that she walks by it, I think. But I just think that was interesting that he used the first cuss word of the movie happened to be at the bar that she first gets an audition. And I think is like the start of this life that's happening. Like when Sandy dies, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
It made sense if you have a brain. Because we look at the IMDb, because it's R and we were watching it in the theaters, we were like wanting to prepare ourselves for what we were going into. And it was just really funny because we saw that there was a scene, we were like the entire time we were always like, is this the scene? Like when when he was kissing on her neck, we're like, is this the scene? Like what's about to happen?
It just comes out.
And then it just came out of nowhere and it was for like half a second.
How about
I'm like,
Jocasta
that was
bringing
really
home
nothing.
that boyfriend or roommate and like
Yeah.
she's like
Sure,
trying to
that
go to
was-
sleep
that
and
was
she
funny.
walks in, throws her
Throws her
jacket
hair.
on her.
That
She's
was
like,
so
what the
funny.
freak? Yeah,
That was
like,
funny.
what the freak? Like,
And then she sleeps
classic.
out.
Talk about
in the
yeah. I can testify at college. Some roommates just do not know the rules of PDA and don't care.
Oh, on
Holy
camera.
shiz.
And I love everybody writes their names on everything, and then he's like, "Oh, is this yours?" And then he buys and then writes "sorry" on it. That was good.
So
Smooth.
genuine.
So sweet.
Dude, yeah.
What a guy. What a guy. Way to go, John.
What a stand-up guy. Love it. Yeah, the only that's really impressive, dude. I've never seen that. Oh,
Edit that
jeez.
one out.
I don't want to end on that note, but we got to end pretty soon. Any
Oh, yeah,
final
we probably
thoughts?
should wrap this up. Well,
Yeah,
I just
that's-
thought we
that's
already
my
had the
bad.
trans,
My
we
bad,
had the
sorry, guys.
women. I just didn't know if we had any racism in this podcast, so I just thought we'd throw it all in there. Anything else we could say that could possibly offend another group of people? Hey, how about this podcast only had 4 white men on it, no women. Didn't care to have any women's opinion about this movie. But you know what, women, I stand up for you. I stand by your side. This was an amazing
Are you
film.
assuming my gender because I'm not wearing a dress? I am a woman. Gotcha.
Hey, I'm not the bigot. You're the
Yeah,
bigot.
Ty-
I look at it. Of course they're women. They're wearing
But
dresses.
Ty, now we have to tell everybody we all identify as 4 black females.
Gay. 4 black gay females.
I identified very much with the women in this movie. How dare you? How dare I just appropriate all that oppression through the years? I love it. It's so funny. I could play this game all day. I find it really funny because there are people that believe this nonsense. That's what makes it so funny. Maybe not. Maybe I just believe in straw men. Guys, let's wrap this up, guys. Any last minute thoughts, quotes you wanted to throw out? I was just going to say, to Soho. Or what was it? Soho. I can't remember what she says.
To being a in Soho.
To being in Soho. I thought that was really funny. Dude, that's...
Gosh, she's such an
Thanks,
annoying
Jocasta.
character. She's my
She's-
nitpick.
She was... No, but she did a good
she's
job.
good.
Fashion sucks.
Jocasta did a really
Diva.
good job at making me hate her. And that was really well done. Because it's like everyone had that friend. And he nearly stabbed her. She nearly stabbed her in the library. I thought for sure she was going to stab
My slight nitpick
John.
is just because like she brings back Fast from the 60s doesn't mean she's gonna be like the super successful like girl out of the fashion school. I don't know, but
She's still
like,
in school.
just because she
Hey.
survived it.
She has a passion.
She's stronger because of what she had, what happened. You have to respect her for that.
She starts tearing apart the dress.
Yeah, because the dress she was designing looked awesome, but then when those weirdos were wearing it, like, I was like, oh, man.
Whoa, Jordan, excuse me. The weirdos? Are they weirdos because of trans, or are they weirdos in spite of the fact they're trans?
They just looked freaky. And then, but their dresses looked...
In spite of the fact that they're trans.
But the dresses they were wearing were absolute rubbish. Like... I'm like, that is the ugliest thing I've ever... And then everybody's
Like
like,
I
oh, that was
said.
so amazing. I was like, those dresses were nasty.
Yeah, just
Guys,
have
we don't
Anya,
understand
just
fashion.
Anya
I
model.
don't understand it.
Hey, but I did like how the black kid had to walk with a limp after, so there was actual some consequences, unlike fetching, what's that movie, Unhinged?
Wait,
where
but he was
he'll
stabbed
be
in the
all
stomach,
right.
so why can't he walk? I don't understand. Why does he walk with a limp if he got stabbed in the stomach?
Maybe he stepped on glass, broken glass on the mirror.
Ew. Wait, really?
No, but he was walking fine before that. But Jordan, he was walking
Yeah,
fine
he was
before
walking
that.
fine.
I don't know.
Wasn't he? Yeah, because he sprints after her in the street, and then she stops him.
Didn't you know, Ty, when you get stabbed in the hip, you walk with a limp?
Is that where he got stabbed in the hip? Oh. Drew, things you've seen lately and things you're looking forward to real quick.
I watched Prisoners last night, and it's a good movie, but I'll probably never watch it again. I don't recommend it to anybody. It's just too heavy. Something I'm looking forward to. I just want the Batman to come out. I'm so excited for that. I think it's going to be good. I hope it's going to be good.
Me too.
We also watched the trailer from some kidnapping movie, which looked kind of wild.
Drew, I mentioned this on the podcast when we did Prisoners, but I love how he says no more riddles. He literally Hugh Jackman's character tells Paul Dano no more riddles, and he's literally going to be the Riddler and Batman. Just saying.
That's a good catch. I like that.
It's great. It's brilliant.
I also
I'm so
saw the
smart.
new James Bond a couple weeks ago, and I was left very unsatisfied.
This is coming from the biggest James Bond fan I know.
Yeah, I did not care.
Yeah,
either.
Casino Royale is my favorite movie of all time.
Wait, and there's one more. Drew, if you like that little tidbit, Paul Dano literally sings Jingle Bells, Batman Smells, making a mockery of Batman, who's
Oh my gosh.
opposed
What the
to it.
heck?
I know, right? Prisoners, Danny Villeneuve called it, right? Isn't it crazy?
kind of
My mind
impressive.
was spinning over that. When I was watching Prisoners, I was like, is this making me more excited to see Batman? Anyway, just had to throw that out there.
Yeah, that was good. Anyway, yeah. So, Casino Royale is my favorite movie. I think it is just almost perfect. And this new James Bond, I'll be honest, there were a few really good things,
Like Ana de Armas.
but I would say I liked less than I wish I did.
Cameron, put your back on.
Dude, that woman. I'd wear a dress for her. I'd wear the dress and cook it clean for her.
Wait. You want to wear a dress for a woman to prove that you're not a loser? Yeah, why? Nothing. High school's just changed a little bit since I was there. All right. Drew, do you have a social media presence you want people to stalk you on?
Just for Thomason, you can find me at diddy.ru on Instagram. If you're ever in America, let me know.
Just for Thomas. Brilliant. So, Cameron, do you want to share what you've seen real quick? You're probably bursting at the seams.
I haven't watched anything new besides I've just been rewatching and showing people some good movies like Prisoners and Shiz.
Awesome.
But yeah, we're looking forward to pretty much the same things. And we saw the trailer for some movie about this guy who's like a kidnapper or some shiz. It looked like Saw vibes, but it's like
Oh yeah, that creepy mask he's got. Looks dope.
yeah, it looks pretty interesting.
I'm interested. Looks
Ethan
original.
Hawke?
Looks different.
Yeah,
Right? Isn't that his
kind of
name?
about A24 vibes. I think so. Yeah. Are you talking about Tony Hawk?
No, Ethan. Isn't that his name from what's the movie?
Gattaca.
Yeah. Is that Gattaca?
I have no idea.
Dead Poet Society.
Yeah, Dead Poet Society.
Oh no way.
Sinister. I could keep going.
But yeah, that's it.
Great. I watched a movie called The Hunt. It's not the foreign film, which I absolutely love with Matt Mikkelsen, but it's got, or is it Matt Mikkelsen? Yeah, I think it's Matt Mikkelsen.
I love Mads Mikkelsen.
The Hunt was a kind of a political satire with Hilary Swank shows up. It's a great movie. It's kind of fun. It's like The Hunger Games meets Get Out, kind of. I don't know how else to
Fun
describe it.
seeing Always Funny in Philadelphia guy show up.
Yeah, Glenn Howerton. It was so funny to see him as like this rich, like it was really funny. So love seeing the discount Mark Wahlberg too. He's that comedian. I always call him the discount Mark Wahlberg because he looks like an uglier version of Mark Wahlberg. But anyway, love him. He's funny. I should learn his name. He was in Blockers. He's really funny in that. Cool fight at the end.
John Cena?
No, but yeah, that John Cena does kind of look like this guy. I'll send you a picture of him, or I'll send it to Cameron. And the chick looks like Dune mom. I don't know what that means. Oh yeah,
The chick looks like Dune mom.
The survivor, yeah, the main character, the protagonist. She looks like the character from Dune. The mother in Dune, that actress, looks so much like the woman in The Hunt. Look it up. They look so alike. They could be sisters. It's crazy. Just had to throw that there. And then I watched this Disney Plus show called like Just Beyond, I watched the first 2 episodes. They're kind of fun. It's kind of like a Twilight Zone kind of thing. Then it's been Halloween, so I watched Final Destination. Hilarious movie. Doesn't hold up as well as I remember. I remember watching it in high school thinking it was the coolest movie. The movie's kind of dumb.
I love it.
But it's funny. Do you love it? Like I said, I liked parts of it, watched it with Maddie, and I was just like, I remember it being better.
I just rewatched it. I loved it.
Yeah. I watched Ghoulies. Not funny, not good. I honestly thought Ghoulies would be like Gremlins. I thought it was like an adult version of Gremlins. On How Did This Get Made, mentioned it was Ghoulies was like Gremlins for adults, and I watched it and I was like, it's just a stupid movie, and it's not funny, and it's not good at all. Terrible acting, terrible production, everything. And then I watched Dr. Sleep, which is a great sequel to The Shining. If you haven't seen Dr. Sleep, Ewan McGregor does a great job. It's a great movie. Very different from The Shining, but still great.
What about
Great
Men
movie.
Stare at Goats or whatever?
Have not seen it.
Lamb? Have you seen Lamb yet? Has anybody seen Lamb yet?
Lamb?
Lamb.
Or
Lamb,
Lamb.
the A24 movie.
Oh, I did see the trailer for that. I definitely want to see that movie. Jordan, it looks like that one. Remember
I
that
don't know.
Shaun of the Sheep?
It makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, it looks really unsettling. It literally looks like The Lighthouse, Jordan, with like the premise of remember that one horror movie with the sheep eat the people? It's like Shaun of the Dead, but like it's the sheep. Remember that movie we watched, Jordan?
I legit think that
Black Sheep.
it's like there's like
Oh,
a
it was
lamb
Black
boy.
Sheep. That's
right. It makes me uncomfortable. That's all.
Yeah, the movie kind of has that vibe, but it's like really creepy, like really well done. Look up the trailer, Jordan, for it. Definitely do it.
Or don't.
Look up.
It's fine if you don't either. It's
Jordan, it
uncomfortable.
looks really unnerving. We should definitely check it out. All right. So, folks, futuromovies@gmail.com. Leave us an email. Like us. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, social medias. Even though I fundamentally oppose to everything they stand for, but I have to use their platforms. So, everybody, tune in. Leave us a 5-star review. Love us. Check us out. Guys, this has been Future Head Movie Gem signing out. Peace.
Bye.
Downtown.